Hello future tech leaders, I am Sindhuja. Based on my own experience, I know that learning the right skills can shape our future. What if I say learning was as thrilled as the tech world itself? There we go. A cloud foundation, that's exactly what you will experience. From day one, you will be immersed in the interactive sessions and expert-led courses that covers most of the widely used technologies in the zone of data science to cloud computing, which brings more light to the life of a techie. I'm so excited to help you and unlock the true potential of a technology. Well, then why to wait? Let's see what it unfolds.
Which is creating identity over here, identity solutions making provision for users over here. If you look at users and groups, I showed you some of the quick UI of that. Once you look at these user accounts, you have different type of identities over here, which is your cloud identity, which means users directly created inside your environment. Users directly created inside the Azure Active Directory, that is something called as cloud identity. Another member that you have is directories synchronized identity. Whichever users you have on your on-premises environment and you are synchronizing those users within your Azure Active Directory by using a tool like Azure AD Connect. That will be your directory synchronized identity. I'm not sure if I have any one of them right now. If I have one, I can show you. Can you all see over here? Security user 1. If you see this user, this is a directory synchronized user. That's why it is showing directory sync yes. Whereas for other users it is directory sync no, which means these are not coming from on-premises Active Directory. If I create a new user over here, if I create a new user over here, first name, last name, whatever rows I want to specify for the user, there are quite a few details which are not compulsory. I'm leaving them as it is. For this user, you'll see these are members. And this is not directly synchronized. Guru has a user which I have created. This user is a cloud identity or a cloud user. And if you see the details of this user, this will be OMS funding Hotmail domain, right? Which is a domain which I have used right now. Clear everyone cloud identity. Any user that you're creating directly inside Azure Active Directory is a cloud identity. Any user which is coming from on-premises environment using Azure AD Connect, those users will be directly synchronized users. Third set of users will be guest users. Here you can see as one of the guest users which I have added over here. I have added the Gmail account over here of another person. That is the guest account over here. Generally, why would people vote directly synchronized identity? When you're doing initial POC, when you are trying out the cloud environment, trading set of users over there, giving them permissions makes sense. But most of the organizations which has been there for a very long time, they will already have around 5,000 to 6,000 users within their on-premises Active Directory. Each of these users will have set of attributes and permissions. rather than creating all those users all over again. In your Azure environment, it is a recovery, Azure Active Directory. It is recommended to synchronize those users within your Azure Active Directory. Right. And by doing this synchronization, you will be able to synchronize all the relevant attributes required for your cloud environment and give them appropriate permissions. Does this make sense to everyone? Any questions here? For the users section, regarding the guest users, what is the use case for that? If you have a user in another organization or another domain, you want to give permissions to that user within your environment. You can add him or her as a guest user, like a temporary user. It's temporary user. But that person doesn't have to change his or her domain name. Like here, if Guru has to log in, Guru needs to mention. That will be the ID for Guru. Whereas for CB, he will have to just mention cb2013@mail.com. Do you understand that? That is the difference. The domain in most scenarios of B2B scenarios, B2C scenarios, where I don't want the user to change their username, to change their domain name. In that scenario, I can make use of guest users. That makes sense. Thank you. I showed you an example of how to create a user. For guest users, you can invite a user over here. Even in terms of creation of that user, there is a difference. Here you select invite user, and when you say invite user, you can use a Gmail ID or a B2B. What is the customer? The user's domain. You can mention that domain over here. That will help you add the guest user. Next thing that we can do is, once we have lot of users being added, and you want to work with it, like we have discussed about, the logical grouping of resource. We have discussed about logical groupings of grouping of subscription using management groups. Similarly, you also have logical grouping of members using security groups over here. You can use security groups with assigned users, dynamic user, dynamic device. When you are giving permissions, it becomes difficult to give permissions to users. Whenever it comes to single users, it is easier and much more manageable. When you give permissions to a group, correct, it becomes easier for multiple users to get those permissions easily. Let's go to our groups over here. New group. Whatever description you want. If there are any owners being assigned over here, you can specify that. Any members you want to add. Any members you want to add inside these groups. You can create as many number of users you want, as many number of groups you would want to create. Right. All these things can be within the single environment. If I have multiple users over here, multiple members over here, I do need to give permissions to users one by one. I can directly assign a permission to a group, which immediately go and assign permissions to all the groups inside, all the users inside that group. Clear everyone. Clear everyone. We'll stop here for today. The audio is alright. No cares in depth. You could hold them away. You can quickly slip them away. Off with your book. You can see it. And finally, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.